announcements?
Correspondences.
Done. Public comments on items not on the agenda? Start with the select board.
Sure. Dated April 12th, 2026, to the Putney Selectboard. We, the undersigned, are asking our Putney Selectboard to submit a letter of non-support to our Vermont legislators to push for the repeal of Act 181 and Act 59. As longtime Vermonters, rural landowners, and Putney residents in full support of landowner rights, the laws passed 2 years ago, quietly and without rural landowner input, specifically the Tier 3 language and the forest overlay mapping, will create undue hardship for anyone that owns rural land in Vermont. Furthermore, why were rural landowners across the state not consulted prior to these implemented changes taking place? We all feel that, as long-term landowners with most of our land already in current use, state oversight is being more than duplicated, as well as adding unnecessary additional financial burden and restrictions to rural landowners. At its core, Act 181 expands when and where Act 250 jurisdiction applies. These laws do not replace Act 250. They broaden the situations in which the Act 250 permitting process is triggered. In short, we feel that these new laws will shift decision-making away from our local government, disproportionately impact our rural landowners, decrease property values, and create uncertainty and add complexity and costs to almost any land improvement project. Please strongly consider this request from the below landowners of your town. And there are 18 signatures here.
You can put 19.
Thank you.
Mr. Cameron.
Mr. Chairman, actually, under the Vermont Open Meeting Law, everyone who speaks in a public meeting must be identified. So I would take the liberty of asking the select persons here to read the list of we, the undersigned, and if possible, let us know if he notices any who are not Putney residents.
I will do my best. Daniel and Jennifer Donovan, John Leader, Marilyn Bookwalter, Paul Killigrew, Valerie Harlow, William Harlow, Pam Learley, Robert Learley, Andrea, I'm sorry, I can't read that last name, Robert Hedden, Cora Skeel, Joseph Urquay, Darcy Washburn, Tim Harlow, Todd Harlow, I believe that's Karen Horde.
Is it Hormel?
Hormel, yes, and Jim Hormel. Yep.
Thank you.
Those are the names.
Any other public comment?
Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, but thank you for asking.
Okay, I'll go first.
Heather?
I said, okay, she not to swing around.
Heather?
Yes, I thought.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you want to go next?
Thank you. This evening I'm correcting statements made during the last select board meeting. I misspoke when I cited the wrong Vermont statute regarding transparency and accountability in open meeting. The appropriate statute is 1 VSA 310 through 314. I think that it may also be important to define certain terms that have been used in the previous two meetings as there seems to be a lack of understanding. Obfuscation means to throw into shadow, to make obscure, to make more difficult to understand, and to confuse. Bullying is defined as abuse and mistreatment of someone vulnerable by someone stronger and more powerful. I also want to address the malicious intent assigned to me by Select Board Member Tulloch. In the meeting on April 1st, Ms. Tulloch purported that through malintent, I had an email conversation with the chair of the Equity and Inclusion Committee. I did comment immediately to the issue. I bear no maliciousness to any person or party. My opinion of people is individualized on the person and how they treat others. There is no part of me that cares about color, religion, race, sexual orientation, or identity, contrary to suggestion. I most certainly appreciate a creative argument, but Michigan law has no bearing on the conduct of select board business in the state of Vermont. In fact, researching Michigan law regarding common law name change does not allow for the use of a chosen name at any level of government. To act as party to creation, change in local government policy, law, or ordinance, a person must state their legal identity. Or they may file Form PC 51 to change their name legally in accordance to MCL 711.1. You see, my neurodivergence doesn't allow me to ignore injustice and unfairness. During this meeting, Ms. Tulloch spoke of personal stories for name change. I too have a personal story. For 15 years, I was known by a different name. I survived almost 2 decades of domestic violence, the pinnacle of which came to head in 2017. After being screamed at, struck, smashed repeatedly in the doorframe, and under the weight of a full-grown man, then thrown across the room, I was escorted from my home in handcuffs. I lost my home, my job, and my children that day. But what I didn't lose was his name. 6 months later, the charges were dropped, but the paper doesn't report that. It took 3 more years to be able to correct my name and have any ability to start lose any connection with the one that was tainted. Changing one's name is a privilege, one that I wasn't awarded until the divorce decree was final. I earned the opportunity to change my name and follow the law of doing so even in my personal life. I didn't even make it Facebook official until it was legally official. You, Ms. Tulloch, called me a bully for following the expectation and decorum of state law and referring to the chair of the EIC by her name of legal record out of context and conveniently admitting the email I'd sent requesting an apology for dismissing women in town and stating that there are no women's issues, especially in light of the current political climate. You strategically didn't include that the chair attempted to placate the issue with a non-apology, framing it as my perception rather than taking accountability for her comment and dismissive behavior. Or that she has known that she's had to identify herself, having done so in other public, select board, and town meetings. Rather than discussing the merits of my complaint, you chose to use your position on the select board to double down on the obfuscation I included in my original statement, to slander me publicly based on your personal opinion. An opinion that became flagrant 6 years ago when I came to the board with an 8-page grievance regarding sexual harassment I had been subjected to in the Putney Fire Department. Instead of looking at the evidence, the board at the time decided that a senior firefighter who uninvitedly electronically threatened to tongue punch my fart box claimed that this and other rude comments were made on his time and had nothing to do with his position in the fire department. That after I had made a facetious comment, the same firefighter struck my backside so hard the sound reverberated along the walls and made other people in the bay of the fire department blush, that did not constitute a sexual harassment. That when this member was promoted to a position of power, my several years of rebuffing his advances led to being usurped from my role as an educator and leader was not considered sexual harassment. Instead, I was victim shamed, labeled as angry, crazy woman who was mad that she did not get her own way, and that I was acting out. While you sat with 2 other board members and listened to me ask if their opinion on the matter was based upon their long-standing friendship with the chief, you shared no opposition when they stated that it was because they had known him longer. They would be more inclined to take his word as fact, because that's how small-town politics works, causing not only professional damage, but destruction of personal relationships as well. Your personal opinion of me since this matter has metastasized like cancer through many versions of the select board. It has kept me off committees where my experience would be considered expert. It has formed opinions regarding my character in current and past select board members. It has even kept me from being rehired under the reorganization of the fire department. I have seen the document of ex parte conversations assuring former leadership that myself and at least one other would never be rehired to the Putney Fire Department. You've used this leverage to keep me silent. The select board meeting in July of 2022, for example, where you threatened me by asking me if I wanted to air dirty laundry, thereby impeaching my character not for the first or the final time. This statement is not intended to publicly shame you, even if your actions would justify doing so. Eileen, I sincerely hope that you heal from whatever trauma that has caused you to act the way you do. To ensure there is no ambiguity, I am formally submitting the relevant email correspondence into the public record alongside this statement. These records stand as a definitive account of these events. Consequently, I will not be participating or responding to any subsequent attempts to debate, litigate, or revise any of these established facts. This is my final word on these matters. This is only intended to call out the lack of transparency, accountability, and understanding within town government, as well as to defend my integrity against years of slander.
Thank you. Emily, you had something?
Yep. Before I begin, I want to say I do agree with her position on the name change. Recognizing somebody's legal name is important, and it's a legal matter. I came before you last meeting because I wanted to talk about our constitutional adherence, and you now have a copy of the Constitution in the office here. And I want you to take a chance to look at Article 18 when you get a chance, where it says that the people have let me see specifically, we ought to pay particular attention to these points in the choice of officers, and we have a right in the legal way to exact due and constant regard to our Constitution. So one thing I wanted to clarify is that in our Constitution, you made an oath to uphold. There's certain limited delegated authority. Now, there isn't a hierarchy in that you have to uphold a governor or a president's before you uphold the Constitution. You guys are to uphold the Constitution, in fact, not embellish it, not expand it. You are to be servants to us to protect our rights. That's your duty. That's the sole purpose of government. Now, we all have inherited quite a mess. We've already agreed that. So since we had one letter about Act 81, I'm going to share a letter that is going to the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, which is Phil Baruth and Jill Krawinski, who I think recently said she wants to repeal Tier 3. So this is a statement from the people of Vermont. A lot of people on Facebook, you'll see huge groups regarding Act 81 and 59. And it's not just that we don't like it. It's that it's thoroughly unconstitutional. Here, let me read this. We, the people of Vermont, take notice that Act 81 and Act 59, both in their intent and practical effect, operate to limit, burden, and in certain applications effectively diminish the constitutionally secured rights of private property held by the people. Please take notice that the right to acquire, possess, and protect property is among the fundamental, natural, and unalienable rights retained by the people. This principle is affirmed in the Vermont Constitution, Chapter 1, Article 1, which declares that all people have natural and inherent rights, including acquiring, possessing, and protecting property. Please take notice that the sole and legitimate purpose of government is to secure these rights, not to subordinate them to administrative convenience, policy preference, or external frameworks. When government assumes powers beyond this purpose, it acts exceed constitutional limits and constitute an unlawful exercise of authority. Please take notice that Act 181 and Act 59 rely upon the delegation of rulemaking authority to boards, agencies, regional bodies, and unelected officials who have not been directly granted such authority by the Constitution. This form of delegated and further re-delegated authority raises substantial constitutional concerns, particularly where such bodies exercising binding control over land use, permitting, and property rights. Please take notice that Chapter 1, Article 6 of the Vermont Constitution affirms that all power is inherent in the people, and therefore all authority exercised by public servants must be directly derived from and strictly accountable to the people, and not NGOs, so to speak. The diffusion of authority into administrative bodies and regional entities weakens this accountability, obscures responsibility, and removes decision-making from the direct consent of the governed. Any redelegation of such authority, not expressly grounded in constitutional directive, is of questionable validity within a system of limited and enumerated powers. Take notice that Article 2 of the Vermont Constitution secures the right of the people to regulate internal government, reinforcing that governance must remain local, accountable, and rooted in the will of the people, not external frameworks, indirect administrative control, or unelected regional influence. Take notice that any law or policy that restricts the use, enjoyment, or disposition of private property without clear constitutional authority, due process, and just compensation raises serious constitutional defects. Such restrictions, whether direct or indirect, must be examined as potential violations of the protections guaranteed under both the Vermont Constitution and the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. This statement is not made in opposition to responsible land stewardship, community planning, or the general welfare. Rather, it affirms that such objectives must be pursued within constitutional limits and may not override or erode the fundamental rights of the people. Therefore, we, people, and people like me of Vermont, there's lots of them, formally assert that the implementation and enforcement of Act 181 and Act 59 must be immediately scrutinized for the constitutional compliance. And where found to exceed lawful authority must be limited, corrected, or restrained to ensure the preservation of private property rights and the maintenance of accountable self-government. Next time I want to introduce an idea of how we can reward people in Vermont for doing the right things. Because people in Vermont don't like to be told to do unconstitutional things. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily, can I have a copy of that?
Sure.
For the record? Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any other public comment? Okay. The minutes from April 1st and April 7th.
I guess we should do it one at a time.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 1st, 2026.
Second. I'm just gonna abstain because I was late to the
Okay.
meeting for the first one.
I think they're fine.
Alright, all in favor?
I
Abstain. Or no, why for that one?
Right.
Next one, sorry.
make a motion to approve the minutes of April 7th, 2026.
Second.
This is what happened.
There you have it.
So,
All in favor?
I
Abstain. Alright, warrants to the treasurer.
make a motion to approve and execute the warrants upon completion of review.
You have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Too many numbers, I got distracted, sorry.
Payroll dated April 17, 2026, in the amount of $23,559.54.
You finally paid that.
We finally received paperwork.
Hey, it was like the meeting before town meeting, I was really distracted.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We'll keep you now. So nothing unusual. Paid the rec director in this warrant. Any questions? No. All right, accounts payable dated April 4th through April 17th, 2026 in the amount of $82,432.51. Below 100,000, I like it. Really nothing like out of the norm. Oh, there is one thing I should probably mention, because you may ask.
We weren't gonna ask. We were done.
Alright, well, Sanford and Darden, that is a refund on, it was a tax adjustment because of
Wow.
the appeal from the assessment from 2023, or the reappraisal, I should say. Kim is going to contact the state and try to get that education
Yeah, the appeal. back.
payment back, which is $13,000, so,
Yeah.
some of it will come back, but the state should not keep that education tax when we just
Right.
made a tax adjustment.
Cool.
So,
How many signs did we get?
signs,
Safe traffic signs? I'm guessing for.
well, it's for the crosswalk signs that came in,
Nice.
so it was like, what is it, $400 and something dollars?
Yeah,
Yes, so that was for Carol Brown Way,
but how many signs did you
Two.
buy? Just two.
too.
Actually, 4.
4?
The diamond signs and those little arrows down below.
Oh, I didn't see them, so there's 4 signs, the arrows,
Gotcha.
with the big diamond.
Great.
We good?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town manager's report.
It's short. So the crosswalk signs are up on Carol Brown Way. Thank you, Howard. And Lenny let me know too that they were up. So in talking with the town of Dummerston folks, the select board, the joint meeting is postponed until about May 20th. And we already have a draft agenda together. I know, Peg, you're probably not gonna be here, but that's fine. We can fill you in after.
Is that the date that you gave us originally?
No.
Something?
No, it's supposed to be April 22nd, but the chair can't make it. And then he wanted to do it like May 7th, and the town manager's on vacation that week.
How dare she?
Get it.
So,
May 20th.
May 20th, we'll see, where people are at, and if we have a quorum, that's fine, but I'd like to get as many select board members as possible. So I'll keep you posted on that. We're having continued meetings about town hall renovation. An update will follow next meeting. There's a lot going on with that project. Prepared a contract for Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. for engineering services on the sidewalk project. So another deadline that we needed to meet. Submitted final documents for the hazard mitigation generator project with Vermont Emergency Management. So we are waiting on the last payment of $63,406.35. And we have to do quarterly reporting, and that was due today, so that's been completed as well. So overall, I mean, Joe Tatro, who's our water operator, went to the sewer plant the other morning, and the generator was actually running because the power had gone out. There was a tree on a line somewhere. So it kicked in automatically. That's what it's supposed to do. Every week it tests on Tuesday. So the fact that, you know, this is good. I mean, it was a long overdue project. It took like over 3 years to get these generators. So once we finally have the final payment, we close it out, I'll be very happy. And that was FEMA money, folks, through the state of Vermont. Reporting for ARPA funds and the MERP. So those grants are due this month as well, the reporting. So every quarter, if you have a FEMA or, you know, or a federal grant, I should say, excuse me, you have to do quarterly reporting, and they want to know, you know, how far the project's advanced and what you're doing, and if you're spending the money. And if you're not spending the money,
They'll give it to somebody else.
they will. And the deadline for MERP, which is the Municipal Energy Resilience Program, May 15th, once the quarterly report is submitted.
I just did mine, I thought they said April 30th.
Well, yeah, the report's due April 30th, but May 15th, we received a letter.
Ah.
By May 15th, if there's no progress on your project, buildings, grounds, services, the state of Vermont will be calling towns.
Okay.
And there are a few in Windham County. So, and I've already said we're gonna spend that money. Again, I have a scheduled vacation from May 2nd through May 9th. I will be out of state and unplugging.
Good luck.
We're holding each other.
I'll report back soon.
No.
When I get back. That's all I have, folks.
Any public comment on the town manager's report? Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, 2 points. One just occurred to me. When our town manager is on vacation, who acts for our town manager?
Oh, I should have announced that. So I made an offer to someone for administrative assistance, or my administrative assistant, excuse me. And they have accepted. They will be starting Monday.
Oh, wonderful.
So they will be overseeing, along with Kim and,
Sure.
you know.
Just throw it right in.
Yeah.
I just thought folks would like to know, you know, who's left if you're not around.
Yeah.
I did have a second point, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Very briefly. I wish to thank everyone who made the crosswalk warning signs at the Putney Meadows crosswalk across Carroll Broadway happen. Signs are what makes a crosswalk, because the striping is a sometime thing. It is fresh at one point, but then it isn't, and it may be covered by snow, etc. It is the signs that are essential, and they are up. And this truly was a matter of life or death. So, thank you.
Glad they're up and working.
Yep.
Any other public comment on the town manager's report? All right, moving on. Boards, committees, commissions, equity and inclusion. Swift.
Hi. So I think 2 months ago, it was before town meeting, we had changed the you folks had changed the language of our charter, I'm not sure, resolution. Changing the language from up to 9 to a committee of 5. So we and the months before that had talked about, okay, let's get that filled, and all of us doing that, whoever you talked to, everybody came out of the woodwork, which is great. And in this day and age, it's definitely some motivating thing that folks are looking to get involved in taking their passions forward. So we had 3 candidates immediately, and then I've had another 3 in most recently. So 4 of those have written letters. That's Nate Snell, Laura Chapman, Eileen, I'm forgetting your last name, I'm sorry. Eileen Whittingham, and Kurt Wagenbakken. So we have talked as a committee, and we came up with a proposal of coming to you they've all come to meetings in the past. Laura and Eileen and Kurt were at our last one, and we got to talk to them about, and then the 4th candidate, Nate Snell, was a co-chair. He's been a select person. He's trying to move back to Putney, so he's technically not a Putney resident, but our charter, I think 2/3 of us have to be. Everyone else is. So from the committee's point of view, all 4 of these candidates that have submitted letters would be a great addition, and we request that they be confirmed as a slate, and you're free to change that, obviously, if you want to have further discussion about them as individuals. And then the second request is to change our resolution to be a committee of 7.
I think we were like, that's the best case scenario.
We did it!
You have to change it to be more.
Yeah, and I have 2 other candidates. We'll talk about it as a committee now that we've grown. I think we'll see if we want to grow further, but we might just ask them to be committed town members that carry this passion, but maybe don't sit on the seat, or we'll see where we're at. We have new members, hopefully, after tonight. So we go forward.
Yeah. I think we need to flip it though and do.
Sure, but I would like to, the committee would like to request that we change it to be a committee of 7, please. And then I have members for that.
I make a motion to change the charge from, we made it 5 to 7. Do we want to make alternates? Instead of having it be, if you've got people that.
You're saying make it 9?
No, I'm saying that we could make it so that there's 7 members, it's a 7-member board, but there's alternates, which would mean if somebody wasn't there, then they would be a voting member of the committee.
Great, whatever helps.
That would make it more versatile.
What's that look mean, Karen?
If I recall, did we put in the resolution a minimum of 5
Yes.
or more, right? Do we have it in the book?
I think we just quickly made it 5 so that they could continue to function.
I think that's true.
Those are ordinances. Is the updated one in here?
I can't.
So
I can't answer
whatever we
that
did
for-
before doesn't matter because we're changing
Alright.
it now. So,
Well, I just don't want the committee to get stuck where they were.
right, that's why I'm thinking
Yeah.
if we make it a board of 7.
I think Rachel might have something to offer us. Rachel?
Thank you. I did update in the blue binder there. You should have an updated copy of that
New.
resolution. Yes.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Never go, Rachel.
Alphabetical order. Policies. Is it a policy? A resolution?
Resolution.
It's the most recent loss. Oh, we have an anti-idling resolution. Are they in order of something? Wait, is it this one? No. Nope.
I have it, if that's all.
There's an index in the front.
Oh, no.
Now you tell me.
Do you have it, sir?
I thought it.
Oh.
Well, gives me the date that we adopted it.
Yep, and then it's filed by that order within the binder. So there's a chunk that says,
All right.
one plastic tab says policies, one says resolutions, so it'd be under the resolutions section.
How did I get into this? Okay, resolutions. Shouldn't it be the last one we did? I can't. Oh, wait.
We're bringing that Saturday.
I have the 2020.
We all have to practice finding things in there.
Oh, wait, I did find it. Okay. What was the question?
How many members?
How many members? What's the
What
one
does it say about members?
It's just a,
What did we do?
Okay, now therefore be it resolved, the EIAC will consist of 5 members appointed by the select board with a minimum of 3/5 of the committee always being Putney residents. Alright, so, do we wanna make alternates?
Swift, what do you think about making alternates?
As
Or-
opposed to
sounds
making it a
great.
full 9 board, that way, you
That
know.
sounds great, and I think that's an improvement. So I think if again, we wanted to come back, I think we wouldn't be soon, it would be like, I think let's try that and see how that works. That sounds like a great idea.
So I make a motion to change the, equity inclusion, to change the language of the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee resolution from, now therefore be it resolved, the EIC will consist of 5 members, will consist of 7 members with 2 alternates.
Second.
Any public comment? Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman, there is a disadvantage to having alternates, which is they do not usually attend the meetings. So when they do attend the meetings, they're really not up to speed on what's been going on in the meetings. So they're kind of like hiring temporary help in an office. They really are. They come and they go, but they're really not familiar with what's going on. So I'm not saying don't have alternates, but I'm saying that is a caveat about having alternates.
I mean, if people wanna be engaged and we don't have enough members, then being alternates is the next best way to do it. Plus they could step in if somebody has to step off, so,
Let's try it and see how it
yeah,
goes.
can always change it.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman, another point, this is kind of I don't know what kind of point it would be under parliamentary procedure, but I would respectfully request that members of the board perhaps speak up a little more so you can be heard not only by the members in the room, but also by the microphone for the video. Thank you.
Good with your motion?
I'm good with it.
All in favor? Do we have a second?
I second
A
it.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Alternates are brought to you folks to be approved?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have to, ahead of time, like, ask them to be there if you're not gonna be there? I know different boards work different ways, so can someone just briefly explain how that works in function? Like, hey, I'm not going, can you go for me ahead of time? Or if they're just an alternate that comes to the meetings frequently, happens to be there, and there's not enough members present,
Both.
they can vote, or
Both.
both? Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, if however you're running your meetings, if you find out that you're not gonna make quorum, you could specifically ask one of the alternates to try to make it.
And they count for quorum?
Yeah.
They can basically be a sub?
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
That sounds helpful, so.
And then if they show up and you still don't have a quorum, or there's a missing member, then they can also be on.
Great, thank you. So the other piece is this slate of 4, we have 3 in the room and 1 here, I'm not sure how you want to proceed, Eric.
I think we say thank you. We have your letters. You've gone through the committee. And So I would make a motion to accept your slate of 4 new exciting members to the committee.
Second. Thank you.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So thank you, excited to have y'all, and our next meeting is on Thursday, and
I just want to appreciate Swift for the outreach that you've done.
Oh, it was not all me.
Well,
so.
all right, the committee and group did too.
Yeah.
I think it's been a challenge to get people to, put time into these committees.
Yeah.
And you have one that has a clear purpose, and I look forward to the planning commission inviting more participation from you all.
Yeah.
Now that you have more capacity. So I'm delighted that this has happened and that you have this support from the select board to do that. So
I thought you were giving me a high five.
well, it is a high five.
But we still need members for the planning commission, just so we're throwing that out there.
Yeah.
How many seats do you have vacancies?
All right, moving on. That was all you had, Swift?
That's it, yeah. Well,
Yeah, and welcome back to our previous committee members, Laura and Nate. That's super exciting, and to our new members, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Selectboard New Business. Act 181 Land Use Development. Sue, complete.
Sorry.
Thank you, Select Board members. Sue Copley, Chair of the Planning Commission. I'm here because I wanted to be sure that you're aware of an action that the Planning Commission took at a regular meeting that was informed by a prior special meeting. And it is, I think, important for you even to be supportive of it, though it's not necessary. The Wyndham Regional Commission, under Act 181, so that's clearly a topic this evening, was directed to develop a future land use map for the region. And so they have been developing that town by town. And they recently, or actually at the end of the line, came to Putney and proposed a land use plan. Now the land use plan they're developing is not for regulatory purposes. It takes a while to get your head around this, but it is really to have a sense of where future development can happen. It's particularly focused not on Tier 3, but on Tier 1, which is really the village centers, the places where we are sitting today, and is the focus of growth. And one of the directives was really to amend the map, to have a map that would support an expansion of housing. You might remember that the state did a housing study, a needs assessment, and they identified a very significant number of additional housing needed over the next 5 to 15 years in Vermont. So the future land use map was meant to have that in mind, and where could that growth happen. So the map that was provided by Wyndham Regional Commission to the Putney Planning Commission for review in a special meeting that was well attended, explained that it was really up for comment, that if the town wanted to change it, we could, and said, does this meet your needs? And a particular issue that came up in that meeting is that we are in the process of following through on a town plan, 2023 town plan, suggestion that we consider expanding our village area, neighborhood area for more housing. It had a suggested area over on South River Road. That we are also undertaking, as requested in the town plan and also the housing study, a comprehensive village plan that is now identifying areas for possible neighborhood area or village expansion. Those are called, on the Wyndham Regional Commission map, planned growth areas. doesn't say whether they're neighborhood or village, but they're planned growth areas. If the map has a planned growth area, if the Wyndham Regional Commission regional map shows a planned growth area, and the town of Putney requests an extension either of a neighborhood area or the village center or the village area, if it is shown as a possibility on the Wyndham Regional Commission map, future land use map, it will be considered very likely. If it is not, if there's a planned growth area is not shown on their map, it could be very difficult to make a change that may not be accepted. So we have sort of a mismatch of timeframes in that here we are undertaking a comprehensive village plan that is giving thought to where that would be. And that's not even regulatory either, but it's saying what should Putney do in a considered way with public and community input. That won't be done until late this summer. Wyndham Regional Commission needs our feedback this month because they have to put their map in May to the Land Use Review Board. So in light of that, we discussed at the special meeting and then again at a regular meeting, the April 7th regular meeting of the Planning Commission, a suggestion that we increase the area of planned growth relative to what the Regional Commission had suggested. Their planned growth area, it's a map that says February, is their first map. You've got two maps, February and April. The February map shows the planned growth area, it's sort of a pinkish color, going up Westminster Road towards Putney Central School. The reason being that there is existing infrastructure in terms of a sewer line, and so that could support growth, and that's one of the things you want for growth, is water sewer, municipal water sewer. They did not include, though, the suggestion that was in our town plan to consider areas over on South River Road near where Landmark is, and where there is some housing development, or the potential for more. And we're looking at that in the comprehensive village plan, so we thought it would be best if the Wyndham Regional Commission plan allowed for that possibility of us identifying that is an area to expand the village or neighborhood areas. Those are designated areas in the state. So the map that you see that's dated April, the Wyndham Regional Commission staff helped us create that, shows a couple of changes. One, you'll see over on South River Road more of that pink area for planned growth. You will also see that another planned growth little bit is over by Old Route 5 near Ellis Hallway Drive, that would be the apple orchard area that you would note is a potential area for planned growth because it's adjacent to infrastructure and all the development in that part of town. So again, could extend there. You will also see that the village center, which is a darker pink color, is extended south on the April map relative to the February map. And that is because there's been interest for a while in Putney extending the center down to where there is a lot of development, down to both sides of Main Street, so the Banks and Rods and that area, but also Alice Hallway Drive, Carol Brown. It meets the criteria, except for one at the moment. For that, the criteria doesn't meet largely because it doesn't have a historic designated area. But that could be had because there's buildings there now that actually could meet that. So the idea of that, the village center being extended down there, which offer benefits for development and incentives, which is something we want to all see for housing and economic development, it just allows that to be possible in the future. It's not saying it is, it doesn't regulate anything. It just says if the town of Putney requests that, it's on the Wyndham Regional Commission map as a possible or a planned growth area. It's a different change. One is planned growth area, the other is extending the village center. But I think we're just trying to create the possibility for us to do that. All of that aligns very strongly with our desire to find a way to do infill housing and further development in this area of town, in the village and the neighborhood areas. we're still figuring out exactly what that will look like. So, you will also see one other change that we made is that you will see in the area of Sackett's Brook, that had been identified largely as rural, as a village area. And that meant different kinds of development could happen there. Well, the reality is no development can happen there because it's all floodplain and nobody could build anything there. So it was our thought to simply designate that as conservation area because that's really what it can be. And therefore it's very clear to everybody that is for conserved land. But the flood maps clearly show that as unbuildable. We just looked at the FEMA maps and went through that and nothing could be built there. So we thought it was better to clearly delineate that as conservation area. That's the bottom line. Those are the changes that we made. We're just trying to create clear opportunity and clarity about development in the village and adjacent areas, so that in the future, after a considered process, the town can make a request for any of those extensions and not have to go through a long process at the state level to get that. So it's just creating opportunity, essentially. And really, if we're going to meet any of the kind of housing goals that the state is talking about, we would need other area. We're not going to meet it just by renovating houses in the village. And so those are potential areas that should be considered. No determination yet. So that's the story. Since land use is a topic of concern, it is important to talk about it. I will note that when I discussed this with Landmark, the college, they noted that they recently were reaccredited. They were going through their reaccreditation process. And one of their top issues to maintain their accreditation is to have more housing for their staff and faculty. So they're very supportive of being able to have a place where this growth could happen in the future. So we did not have time to talk to other people about it. This has been on our first meeting was on the 31st of March, and here we are, 2 weeks later. And the answer is needed. So the Planning Commission voted and said, yes, we would like to ask Wyndham Regional Commission to adopt the changes on the map shown for an April map. That's a lot to take in. I could say more, but I'm going to stop there and go back to what questions might you have about this. Is there anything you would like us to take under advisement or consider further?
So the village center designation, that's going to be, first it's going to be automatic now. We don't have to reapply for it, right?
Well, we did reapply for it,
but we won't.
But now we don't need to.
In the future.
Right, for the current area.
Yeah. And then does this replace the neighborhood development area?
Well, so this is confusing because there's different programs. So the designation programs are village center, and they used to be called neighborhood, an NDA, neighborhood development area. That's now called neighborhood area. They're largely the same. There are just different benefits associated with them under Act 181, slightly different to encourage housing. The planned growth areas, which is yet another thing, doesn't say whether it would be village or neighborhood. We don't need to say that. It's just a place where there could be growth with those designation programs, essentially. It's up to us to make those choices. Meaning the town. It's up to the town to make those choices and requests.
So what's the difference between rural general and rural agriculture and forestry?
Well, I'm glad that I brought my definitions with me.
Because I see on River Road, I guess, assuming
Yeah.
cornfield would be, you have housing or potential.
The difference between rural general and rural residential, say that again.
Rural agriculture and forestry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those areas are largely areas that we have in either conservation or resource districts, and they tend to be low density and have forestry and agriculture. It doesn't, their map of that is different than our map of that, okay? It doesn't actually, so we have forest blocks in our districts, or no, in our map, not our districts, in our town plan, we have forest blocks. which cover multiple districts. It's hard to answer this question. I mean, they're different because they're made for different purposes. But the rural agricultural forestry is largely, you'll see some of the forest block land and you'll see agricultural land. In rural general, it's probably a little bit more like our resource district in that there's a broader range and a little more use in that area. That's my short answer to your question.
So you added some planned growth area over in where what would have been rural agriculture?
That's right. That is right. And that is something that the Land Use Review Board might bring up. It's a small area, but it's contiguous to where it would be easy to expand water sewer infrastructure there because it's contiguous to that. And there is housing already there to some degree. So yes, that would be a change. This doesn't designate it as that. It just says that we could ask for that in the future. We haven't asked for it yet. That's a different thing. It's just saying, should we want to do that, it would be considered. It's very possible that the Land Use Review Board will say no to these things. Wyndham Regional Commission's advice to us was ask for what you think you might possibly need in the future. Let them push back on that. Versus you passing it up now and wishing that you'd asked for it in the first place. Because they don't know how the Land Use Review Board is going to make determinations on that. So it actually better meets the housing goals the state has given Putney, which are more significant than the ones we've given ourselves.
And clarity that as the planning commission, you responded to
That's
this.
right.
You do not need us to approve that. Or,
That's right.
But you're really informing us here.
I'm informing you, and as I said, if you had things you wanted us to take under consideration, it is all very much at the last minute, and that's not our doing, but that's what it is. I think it's important. Land use is a topic. Obviously, it's already come up several times tonight. So we're sensitive to that. These are not the issues that are hot. These are in terms of landowner issues that are coming up at this point.
Right.
This more supports this very clear effort to try to make sure that we have housing and economic development right around the village area.
Right.
But there may be objections and there might be concerns that people have.
And again, just clarification that this has nothing, this is really just putting into place the possibility, but it does not commit us to doing absolutely anything.
That's right, and it has no regulatory bearing.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
So it's more, thinking about the future,
Right.
creating possibility. And Wyndham Regional Commission didn't push back on these ideas. They said some of this actually makes sense to them. And so they didn't have any problem doing it.
So it opens up possibilities, but it doesn't assume that we would take any of those.
That is right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's really thinking ahead, to what others might want. Like I said, the comprehensive village plan is meant to make some specific recommendations about those things, right? That's going on right now, but we're not going to be ready till late summer.
So this is really confusing. So this map is from Wyndham Regional.
That's right.
And it is really kind of, they were tasked with making their maps consistent with all the other RPCs. That's sort of where this came from, right?
That's right. And
So-
for the first time, there's consistent definitions.
Yeah, and it's parcel based.
And it's parcel based. Those are two new things.
Okay,
Yes.
so, but these don't correspond necessarily with the tiers.
They don't.
I mean, they sort of kind of inform us that this part of the pink part will probably be tier 1.
Largely because tier 1, as it's defined, are village areas,
Yeah.
neighborhood areas.
But it could be larger than that, or it could be smaller than that.
That is
We don't
right.
have any idea. So the Land Use Review Board is coming up with those maps?
The Land Use Review Board will review what the regional commission suggests.
Yeah, but I mean, for the tier, like what is gonna be tier 1 and what's gonna be tier 2 and whatever.
Yeah,
Are those maps Are those the responsibility of the land use review board?
The land use review board will approve these
These,
as the
I
way
know
to get
these,
that
but
done.
the other piece, are they coming up with their own maps to map out tiers?
No, not to my knowledge. And
So
they're coming up-
how are we going to know?
What we're good, let me just try this again. It's a very good question because I've been going around about this as
Yeah.
well. So there's a designation program, which is one thing, which is villages and town centers that offers incentives and support. And including things like maybe the CHIPS program, for duplicate infrastructure investment. When you come to the 1A, 1B, I don't know if the LURB is actually going to identify those specific areas. I think they're going
they
to.
would have to, wouldn't they? Because they have to
It
know
would
where
seem,
these, right?
I believe
So
they're
we
going
would
to
be looking at,
defer a bit to what the.
these would probably inform their
Yes.
maps, but these are not the definitive, like, you can't take the yellow on here and say that's tier 2.
No, not at this point.
So that's really confusing.
So I think things are just in
Yeah.
play. I'm thinking
Yeah.
when this goes to the land use review board, because they're focused right now on tier 3, that's where their work is. I think their process is to get this input from the bottom up, from the communities, through the regional land use, or from the regional commissions. And they'll take a look, they will be looking at it, and they'll be making judgments based on this and determining whether this is appropriate for a regional future land use map. My guess is, once they've done that, it will be instructive to whatever they're going to determine. I can't know what they're going to do, but
Sure.
it does seem like that's why they asked the regional commissions to do this.
Didn't, when at the special meeting, the person whose name I cannot remember now.
Alyssa Sabato?
Yeah, that sounds like it. Didn't she say that there was gonna be a tier 3, so how is she?
There will be, again, that's what the land use review board is, that's their.
But she said like a specific location on this map that she was referring to that would be a tier 3.
Well, the tier 3s that are very likely, they actually overlap with areas that are currently restricted through Act 250. Right? We go through an Act 250 review in the low density areas. So things that are larger than 10 acres, which is not that large actually. And you'll see in our map that we have our conservation areas that largely are those dark green areas. Our conservation areas are bigger than those dark green areas, but those are likely tier 3 areas for sure. That's the overlap in that. Where the land use review board is going to land on all of this, that's a good, I don't know. That's why we put off our zoning, frankly, regarding, anything further about forest blocks until they've made their decision.
And they, just in the last couple of days, the House has voted to repeal the road
That's
rule
right.
and the
It
Senate,
has
and just
got-
go to the House.
Yeah. So
that,
it's all in play. Again, that's the reason why we stepped back last summer, saying, okay, let's see what is going to happen, because really it's a state land use policy. Let's see what they do and then figure out what's appropriate for Putney, if anything to do at that point. So that's how we're doing it. So those are great questions. I think and I'm probably not the most informed person about what the land use review board is doing.
Yeah, I've been to so many of these Act 181 discussions, and I still don't really quite understand what's going on. I think we did mention that it'd be good to get somebody from the land use review board.
Yes, we did. That was actually discussed.
Yeah.
We could invite. There's a member in particular, Alex, but I don't remember his last name. Weinberg or something like that. But I don't want to say the wrong
I
name.
think that's wrong, but it's wine something.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be happy to invite him in. I think it's when would you like him to come? Certainly these topics are coming up here in Putney. We had the request that came at the beginning of this meeting. And I think the more we're educated about these things, the better. So if you want, I would be glad to make that request. You can tell me what month you think. It won't be immediate. It probably would be in several weeks at the earliest, but I'm happy to put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, since there's been some movement to, change the rules, change the statute, I assume that the Land Use Review Board's rulemaking is a bit in flux right now too. But it would be good to get clarity on, just the roles of the Land Use Review Board versus the Wyndham Regional Commissions versus our town zoning and all
the
that.
Act 250 review
And
boards.
Act 250 review, yeah. So, as soon as possible would be great because there's a lot of talk and a lot of confusion.
I would love to participate in that because I'm going to be gone for that window.
What's the
End
window
of
you're
June. I'll be back the end of June.
Okay.
So I would love it if we
Hopefully
could
the
do it.
legislature will be done by then.
Well, that might be a more useful time,
Yeah,
frankly,
yeah.
because at that point, at least it'll be clear what the legislature's doing this time.
Yeah. The
So maybe July then.
yeah, that
Yeah.
And I think at that point, we'll have something also coming out of our comprehensive village plan that would be useful. So I'll take that as an action item. I'll reach out and see if we can schedule something. Would you like it to be at a select board meeting or do you want it to be a special meeting? What's your pleasure?
I mean, it could be a planning commission meeting.
It could be a planning commission meeting. I'm happy to do it that
Probably
way.
should be a planning commission meeting
Okay,
and then
okay,
get it on our radar, yeah.
okay. I will navigate calendars with Karen, make sure that I'm not overlapping with something.
And it sounds to me like what you're presenting here doesn't, it isn't up to our advantage to do this, and it doesn't commit us to doing anything, but opens the possibility that we can if we choose to, and it sounds like it doesn't really intersect with that tier 3 debate. It's a whole different.
This is just about the village,
Village,
neighborhood areas
And that would be useful. I think that's a useful model to go into, to continue with our planning with the downtown planning. So I don't know, that seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Lisa?
Hi. I also am totally confused about this. I agree, it's very confusing, but the one piece that I do understand, that I do think is important, you're right, it doesn't require you to do anything, but the village center designation, extending that center, it really is a, sort of low-hanging fruit way to help economic development in the town, because it offers an easy to access tax credit that's easy to monetize for property owners to upgrade with code issues and facade issues and a whole bunch of other things. So I think it's important to expand it to allow more actual businesses to access it. That's all I have to say.
I believe Lisa counted 32 different businesses that could benefit by extending the village
Aren't there
center.
right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, it seems like, and it's been talked about for a long time, and it feels like, okay, let's ask for it.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, first a matter of history. About 25 years ago, I was involved in the discussion where we suggested that instead of Act 250 regulating development in the same way everywhere, that the criteria be relaxed where development had already happened, and perhaps redevelopment needed to happen to replace existing development. And now, some 25 years later, here we are. But in this discussion here, I would underline that sometime quite soon, within the next 3 weeks or so, the legislature is going to recess or adjourn when we will know what they did or didn't do regarding Act 81. Now, if they actually do do any sort of repeal or rescission, then, as they say in civil procedure in the courts, this discussion will be moved by legislative action. So, we're really in the unknown here. But that said, I made a few notes here that I would address to the chair of the Planning Commission. First, I wish to, and there's only 4, I'll be brief. First one is, I understood you to refer to an apple orchard area on Old Route 5.
Yes.
That's in Dummerston.
Actually, some of it's in Putney.
Well, I know where the town line is because I walk by there all the time, and where all the old apple trees are is in
Yeah.
Dummerston.
Well, Wyndham Regional filled it in for Putney, so.
Well, that may be, but when you're walking down Old Route 5, you come to the line where the pavement changes, and that tells you you're switching towns. And there's a sign there, and on the north side it says Putney, on the south side it says Dummerston, and that's where the speed limit goes up from 25 to 35 miles an hour. And I can tell you, a couple of times I've noticed problems with the road down there, and I reported them to Putney, to Dummerston, and they took care of them.
This little corner here.
Yeah, okay, well, the point is, that area there, the land is all grown up. There's nothing there, and it's a very small parcel of land. The largest parcel of land to which you're referring as the former apple orchard runs way down.
Okay, further away, so there's no apple orchard there.
Yeah, where the old apple orchard is, runs down Old Route 5, just before you head down the hill where Houghton Brook Road. I can say for sure, I'm familiar with that.
Yes, I think you walk it plenty.
But
Thank you.
now,
That's point one.
yeah, now, I understood you to mention also that the WRC map is not regulatory, but it says where future development can happen.
That's right. It's not regulatory in that no decision will be, this is how Wyndham, they use this exact terminology in presenting it. Wyndham Regional Commission said this is not a regulatory map.
But it says where future development can happen. How is that not regulatory?
Because it itself doesn't approve that development in any way. I think that's what they're saying. But it creates the possibility for the town to ask for a different area for the designated village center and neighborhood areas. That is not regulatory, that's more incentive. So when those programs are offered, as Lisa Papazian was saying, that there are certain tax credits and incentives that are supportive of development. That's more incentives than regulation. It is different than, for example, our zoning regulations, which tell you, what you can or can't do. So I think that's the distinction, but Wyndham Regional Commission does not regulate anything. That's the bottom line. That's not their job.
Thank you. By the way, small parenthesis, I never seem to be impolite here. I can't look up at people when I'm sitting down, old people's problems. Now, concerning Kimball Hill and Westminster Road, I understood that the idea was perhaps extend the village designation up Westminster Road?
Or neighborhood areas, a planned growth area to be determined whether it would be village center or neighborhood, which is adjacent to the village, but planned growth could be either. And that is what Wyndham Regional Commission proposed, was that up Kimball Hill and Westminster Road along the sewer line.
I would suggest there that you might want to, somebody might want to actually go up there and look at the land, because once again, I walk by there all the time, and there really is not vacant or subdividable land up there that does not seem to be occupied by someone who wants to keep it. So I'm not sure there is any land there, but finally, the sewer line goes all the way to the school.
Yes.
And of course, obviously, for obvious reasons. But the Kimball Hill water main stops where the fire hydrant is about a third of the way up the hill. My understanding, I didn't live here then, is that it was because people objected to a ledge being removed because, of course, a water main has to be buried deeper than a sewer main has to, so it won't freeze. And I would strongly suggest that we do something along the lines of extending the water main all the way up as far as the sewer line goes. And if people would rather not have blasting, some of us are aware that an excavator equipped with a jackhammer could also do it.
Yes, and I think that's a great topic, and I would say it's an appropriate one for the comprehensive village plan, because that's where we're looking actually for where we would extend areas for future infrastructure, such as you're talking about. It's not even clear that the current sewer line that goes out to the Putney Central School could actually serve very, very many properties along the way. It probably would need some enhancement to be able to do more. So all those things are being looked at in the comprehensive village plan, and I think that's a good place to make those suggestions, because that's where we're talking about it right now as a planning piece, and you're invited.
Thank you. That's it?
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else?
It sounds like there's support for proceed as planned and get LURB committee member here as soon as possible to help us understand this, particularly after the legislative session has ended. So I'll look for that in July.
And once again, thank you so much for managing this. I mean, what you all have on your plates in that committee is really something.
Yes, well, thank you. It does feel like our time is here, so glad to do it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, that's it. It was not 5 minutes either.
All right, select board letter to the state of Vermont discussion.
So, because of the Act 81 and because of letters that you're receiving, other towns are writing letters to the state and requesting certain, repeals on whether it's tier 3, tier 2, or tier 1, but I know, Eileen, I sent you and Bex a couple letters.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have enough information about the road rule to really to form an opinion. I understand the argument on both sides. And I also, this is why I kind of like to talk to somebody on the LURB, because I don't really understand where the state statute ends and the rulemaking begins. I don't know how much leeway they have in the rulemaking piece. So I'm not sure where I would want to direct my energy to giving an opinion on something, whether the legislature is the appropriate avenue, or rather petitioning the LURB. I just don't have enough information to really definitively say. I will say that I support the tier 1 designations. I think that's a really, really needed recommendation to change for Act 250. That we played that game in Putney, and it's not fair to put developments under double jeopardy like that. So, I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, for a letter to be effective, it would have to be submitted pronto, and I'm not prepared, so I would not be able to sign on to any such letter. So I would need, for it to come from this group, 3 other people would have to feel like they're really clear about what we should do, and I just am not clear about that. And I don't envision being clear about it in the next 3 weeks.
Well, I think the lack of clarity around some of it is as much of a reason to, have a letter just stating that the lack of clarity makes it difficult to understand what implications come from this. The road rule, tier 3, or any of it. And so I think I would be in support of a letter, I guess, saying that, that having this go into effect without any real clarity around what it all means is difficult for landowners and town administrators, or people who are then faced with enforcing this in some fashion. That's how I would kind of view it.
I would go along with that. And we've heard from some town residents as well.
I agree that this seems good, but I know that it is really upsetting to a lot of people. The road rule seems like that could complicate a lot. And I feel like the more I learned about it, the less I understood. Like I have spent a lot of time trying to get my head around this and having conversations with people, and I also feel like it's really confusing. Yeah.
Be willing to draft a letter?
Sure.
I can give you some models. We'll draft it together.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question I believe I should address to our town manager, because it's a little unclear why this is even on the agenda this evening. So it's not that I'm saying it shouldn't be, but I'm asking, you had a reason to put it on the agenda, of course, and it was a good reason, and could you tell us what it is?
Because I have seen many letters from different select boards stating what Logan has just stated. It's not clear. And I've been in more than one meeting too. I spent an hour in a meeting the other day, and it was like questions, a lot of questions. And there was like no explanation, and I'm just like, all right, I'm more confused now than I ever was before. So as a board and going through this process, and even like with the forest blocks and the wildlife corridor for zoning, it's a piece of it, and everything that I'm reading, like the current use, a lot of towns are already in current use. So when you start like regulating more, there is going to be an impact someplace, but the state hasn't like explained it. They've got this bill up there, they want to pass it, and it's like, then the towns have to like scramble and figure it out. And where are the boots on the ground? And it's like, if you're going to do something, pilot. Take 3 towns and see if it's going to work. But we're at a point right now that I put it on there only because there's a lot of discussion about Act 181 right now. And these are elected officials, and if they want to send a letter, it's totally up to them. But
Thank you.
Does anyone know where the law sits right now? In terms of where it is in
I don't know what I think it's in this, it was just passed in the Senate to repeal the road rule.
yes.
Either in because I think the road rule applied to tier 2 and tier 3.
Tier 2 and tier 3.
Yeah. I have not, it's been moving so fast I haven't been able to keep up with it, but I think it's in the Senate at the moment with that amendment to it.
Yeah, the process is moving so quickly, and it's not explained that we can understand.
Well, just to complicate things, they're in crossover right now, so they're trying to wrap up their session.
Right, so that's what I'm trying to get at is where does the law sit in terms of what impact would anything that we sent right now, what impact would it have if we're 2 weeks out from doing
really
something?
Hard to say.
If it's a
really
moot
hard to
point,
say, yeah.
That's where.
It's really hard to say how fast they'll move on this.
I don't think it'll ever be a moot point. This is a thing that's being tried now. It's been tried in the past, and I'm sure it'll come in front of us again. So I guess my take on that would be to take some time, draft a letter, and get it out there, and
whether it's already passed through or not, it would
just
have that value.
Yeah.
I think it might be useful just to, like I said before, the Land Use Review Board has a fair amount of authority to make rules up for for this Act 250 change. So, you know, if it doesn't go to the legislature, it could go to the Lord.
Sue and then Mr. Chairman.
In writing the letter, I think an issue that Karen sort of hinted at that I would say is important to bring up is that whatever they do, there needs to be not only clarity, but if there's a role for municipalities, there needs to be support to do that. We just can't give us directives without support, and that.
Yes, they can.
Well, they can, but it's not appreciated. That's the point.
Right.
Is that if they have a role for municipal government in that it needs to be clearly supported, because we don't have bandwidth, to implement these state level policies under the current financial situations that Putney and other towns, certainly we can speak for Putney, we don't have any bandwidth. So I just attention to that is really, I think, important. I'd be looking for that. If there's something came down and had something for the planning commission to do or for the town to do, and say, where's the resource to support that, to put something in place, or, so.
Does the tier 1 designation, by reducing the Act 250 implications there, does that put any more work on town? Does it change anything on our end?
Tier 1A definitely would, because we would have to enforce existing Act 250 permits. Tier 1B, I don't think would have extra implications.
Tier 1A is really for, large cities and, have, large boards that can do land use regulation writ large. 1B does, allows what is currently called Act 250 review, to keep it in some sort of simple way, happen at a regional level. There's a regional environmental review board that does that, but it doesn't come to Putney. So those who have Act 250 permits in Putney actually have them through the regional environmental review board. So it's, so I agree with what Eileen is saying, is 1A is not appropriate for a town like Putney. 1B would be, because it doesn't put that, it mainly offers incentives, frankly.
Right.
And if we were to, once everything is settled on all these things, if we were to, ask to extend our village center, we'd all have a thoughtful consideration of what it meant for the town and what it would ask of the town and how we would implement it. So that would be a consideration, but largely it's incentives.
Mr. Fairman.
Mr. Chairman, because we mentioned about what's going on in the legislature so far about something happening in the Senate, they are long past crossover date. So the House has already acted or not acted on this. So it really is going to be a situation apparently where they will have to have a joint House-Senate committee to try to work something out. Whether they can do that before the pressure of wrapping up the session gets to them, who knows? But the other thing we shouldn't forget is the governor still has the choice of sign, let it pass without his signature, or veto it. So it's a long way from knowing what's actually going to happen.
Thank you.
I was just trying, I'm sorry you didn't call me.
Go ahead.
I was just trying to research this for you, and it's actually, what's happening at the moment is pretty convoluted. So it looks like there was an announcement that there had been a vote, but there wasn't actually a vote, and that the Senate did delay it, delay the implementation, but that doesn't necessarily stop anything long term, and that it's still being debated in both the House and the Senate, whether or not they should.
The road rule goes into effect in July if nothing happens. I think that, so maybe they're just kicking it to next year.
It's really, even the process they're going through right now is really messy.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Fairman.
Mr. Chairman, it's necessary to ask this question of the previous speaker. Is your source the legislature's bill tracking system, or is it perhaps something like VT Digger?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Can I answer that? It was multiple sources online. So there was VT Digger, there was some social media posting, I looked at the bill tracker, but the bill's already, 181's already passed. This is a repeal that they're talking about.
I know, but the point is, to be before the legislature, it has to be a bill. And I've forgotten the number, so I couldn't look it up myself. But are you saying that do you know the actual status in the legislature at this time?
I was just looking at updates online
But
through media.
not the legislative bill tracker itself.
No.
No, and the reason I mention that is not to start an argument with you, it's just that that's the only definitive source.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? So I guess we'll leave it as, we'll draft the
I'll
letter.
give you some, thank you, and then we'll get together.
All right, moving on. Vermont House and Conservation Board Letter of Support Grant Application.
So I see Lisa Papazian is online, and if she would like to speak to this, Lisa, because you worked so hard on this grant.
Sure. Let me pull it up. It was there a minute ago.
There, okay. The town hall, the town hall renovation committee just put out 5 grant applications in the space of about 2 weeks. And the last one was to the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board for about $150,000. And the grant has already been submitted. The staff, it was submitted last week, and we didn't have time to put a letter in front of the select board before the deadline, but they said it would be okay to come in later. And unlike the previous ones, which were congressional spending requests, and there were some of them had select board letters of support. This one is the difference between those and this one is that this is not just a letter of support. The accepting of this grant, like the accepting of the Paul Brune grant, which we already have, requires a historic preservation easement to be put on the building, and it's your building. So it seemed not just, so this is a similar letter to the other letters of support that have already been sent, but except for the important piece, I think, is at the very end, which says, paragraph 3rd from the bottom, the town is prepared to accept a permanent historic preservation easement on the town hall property if the funding is successful. It has already accepted the short term, I think it's 15 years, historic preservation easement required by the Boone grant. I'm happy to answer questions about what that is. I think probably a different select board was the one that accepted that one a couple of years ago when we got that grant. So it is a deed restriction on the building. It requires monitoring so that the stewardship, there's a piece of the grant that actually goes to pay for the stewardship, and that's generally done by the Preservation Trust of Vermont staff who run the easement program for VHCB projects. And it means you have to meet the Secretary of Interior standards for historic rehabilitation. And we're already really essentially designing this project to do that. That's my bailiwick, and that's kind of what I bring to the committee partly. And we have to do that in order to accept various federal money and state monies anyway. But this means it would be under that requirement going forward in perpetuity. So it means if you were going to do a major change or even, a minor change that is irreversible in the building, you would pick up the phone or email that staff person and say, this is what we want to do. Can you approve it? And they might ask for more information. That's generally the process that has to happen. And it would have to be a commitment to do that. I mean, we don't do a lot of work on the building. And once we do this project, we're hoping not to do much work on the building again. Yeah. And the work that's proposed here, which involves a bunch of change. especially downstairs, would be kind of pre-approved. That's sort of the way we did this with Next Stage, which, as you know, was a church and now it's a performing arts center. That was a lot of change. And we accepted a grant from VHCB then, and the easement took into account that that work was already happening. So I'm happy to answer other questions.
Karen, do you see any issue with this?
I don't see any issue with it. Like Lisa stated, we go through this renovation, it's gonna be, we shouldn't have to do anything in this building.
In our lifetime.
In my lifetime. But I don't see an issue with it. Lisa's right. Excuse me. The Paul Broom grant already has an easement, so it's $150,000 potential dollars to put into this building. I think you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that concerned me just a little bit is that this is a permanent easement and the other one's 15 years.
That's true.
Not saying that, we don't wanna, we wanna turn it into a modern stadium or anything, but we are basically trapping future select boards after the 15 years into a historic easement, that's all. But I don't really have a strong objection to it, so.
I believe, but I would have to check this. I believe that the penalty for doing something against the easement that breaks it is you have to pay back the $150,000. I think.
Okay. Well, in 20, 50 years or whatever, that'll be a small amount of money, so it'll be fine.
It's true, but I would have to verify that. Yeah. And this is going to the VHCB board, I believe, in June, at their June meeting. And so if between now and then you wanted to hear from the staff person, Meg Campbell at the Preservation Trust, to ask her more direct questions, or we could ask her to Zoom into a meeting if you wanted. Otherwise, I would recommend accepting it. I mean, obviously, we don't get the grant.
There's not much else they could do, right? I mean, they couldn't come over and I don't know what they would do other than ask them for their money back.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had thought to research this a little more before tonight. I don't think they can. I mean, I think that's basically what's at risk. But I will check that too.
So, question to Lisa: if we were approved, we don't have to take it technically, right?
Sorry, if we applied
Let's just say we were approved for this grant, and then we find out, I mean, I don't know what we would change this building in.
No, I don't have any, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean,
It's just the permanent easement piece that's.
no, I get that, but, the chances of changing the use of this building is probably,
Well, even if you change the use, you can change the use as long as you can meet the Secretary of Interior standards, which that's for rehabilitation and includes, like we did at the church, adaptive reuse. You just have to protect. So the process is, once this gets approved, the easement gets written with somebody like me, a historic preservation consultant. It won't be me, but it'll be a colleague who will come and write up a sort of a description of the building's historic character defining features. And that list gets put into the easement, and those are the things that we are then required to protect. That's a conversation. That list gets made up, it gets sent to us, and if we're like, no, we really don't want to put that piece, that's going to be difficult to put that in the list. That is a conversation that we can have.
I'm fine with it, especially if we don't, if we find out that there's some really stringent,
right,
penalty, $150,000 plus interest or whatever, then, we can discuss not taking the grant, but I'm fine with it. then.
We have to get approved first.
Right, so, right.
And we'll take the next
We have a
step.
letter for the application.
Yeah.
So,
So I make a motion to, approve the letter of support as written and authorize the chair to sign it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you,
Great.
Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
you're welcome.
Alright. FY 27 VTrans Grants in Aid Letter of Intent. Karen.
So in your packet is our annual letter of intent for grant funding to improve our dirt roads. We do this every year. And let me just see what I do. Putney. I have it. Usually I have it ready to go. So $26,250 is the award, which means $21,000 will come from the state, and then we have to match $5,250, which we can do that every single grant because there's so much work to be done. So I would recommend authorizing signature to move ahead with this grant.
Can you sign this?
Yeah, if you want to authorize me to sign it, I put my name in there, but if you want the chair to do it, that's fine too.
Oh boy. I make a motion to approve the letter of intent to participate in the FY 27 Municipal Roads Grants and Aids Program.
And authorize.
And authorize Karen to sign it. I don't think we can do that, but it's like, yeah.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
FY 26 Financial Reporting, third quarter. Karen.
Third quarter. So you have the general fund, you have the highway, library, sewer and water. So we're 3/4 of the way through the budget season. I will say there are certain areas out of our control. One is heating fuel and propane. There has been an increase. And other than that, the general fund is 67.7%, so below 75%, where we should be at. So a few line items overspent already, but we can justify the overage. But I am monitoring moving forward, especially in the last quarter. Are there any questions on the general fund?
The attorney fees, that's
Yeah.
mostly the appeals, the.
Yes. Yes, and that will go up some more. We are gaining though, I can say 2 have been settled. But it's gonna take a little bit.
What was the second settlement?
Baskerville,
That's one.
and then Stetson was the
Oh,
other
that's
one. So that's the general fund. Highway fund,
Mr. Chairman,
whoops, sorry.
I do have a question about the general fund, if I may.
You wanna take questions now, Karen, or you wanna go through?
Sure, no, we can do
Go
one
ahead,
at a
Mr. Chairman.
time.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Town Manager, you mentioned propane and you mentioned heating oil. How about diesel fuel and gasoline, if any?
That's in the highway department, and
Okay.
that one's next,
Okay.
but, yeah, $5.89 a gallon at
I know.
Sunoco, and it keeps going up. I'm not concerned right now with the fuel line items in the highway operating budget. I can say salt, which has been a problem this year, not getting it. And then having it trucked from Portsmouth, New Hampshire instead of Bellows Falls was more money. Our salt shed is low on salt. I have authorized the road superintendent to buy salt while we can get it, even though we're gonna go over budget. So if we can get it from Bellows Falls trucked down, it's less money. And Lenny Howard stated we probably need about 10 loads of salt to fill the salt shed.
Wow.
And we have been warned already by the state of Vermont, VTrans, that we should lock into a contract for salt now, because they don't know if we're gonna get it. Which is a little scary right now.
Yeah, get a salt pit.
Which means, you know, we monitored this winter because of the salt shortage, and we didn't put as much salt out. And we may have to do that again the next season. And
Well, it served us. I mean, other towns ran out.
yes,
Like,
Yeah.
I traveled to stay with friends and they were like, they hadn't had salt for weeks and weeks.
yeah. Not only that, but, and this is with materials, like sand. We are so fortunate that we have a gravel pit. We have two. We lease one that has winter sand, the other one we just did blasting. There are towns that are traveling hours to get material. Hours. So we are so fortunate right now. But salt is gonna be an issue, fuel is gonna be an issue. So I'll keep you posted, but, for me, it's like if we have to have it, we're gonna buy it. And if we're over budget, I will explain it, but it's just reality right now. So the highway department is 69.4%. The overtime this past winter too, we've been carrying an extra person. So in the winter maintenance, the overtime was more, but because of that extra person, we didn't go over budget. But next year we'll be tight. If we have another winter like this, we will go over budget. But again, it's, we only have 5 people. It's not like you can rotate your crew and try to avoid overtime. It's not gonna work here in Putney. It's not gonna work well. Other towns do that.
Even if we added a person?
Maybe.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
first question.
But then you add the expense back in,
Yeah.
of over $100,000 for an employee with benefits.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's a discussion. I did take it out in the next budget season, but we'll see how it goes. So, right now, the highway budget's okay. The library, 81%. And those funds are appropriated by the voters. It's within the general fund, so I don't look at theirs as hard. because they have a board of trustees that have the authority. Sewer fund, 70.9%. Repairs and contracted services is over budget because we have spent money on several pumps this year. And I may make an adjustment and look at the reserve funds to maybe charge those expenses to the reserve. But I will come to the select board to get authorization to do that. And again, you know, pumps go down, if they can be repaired, refurbished, we do that first. Buying new ones are more expensive, but sometimes they can't be fixed.
Oops, sorry about that.
And then the water.
Oh, stop.
I loved it.
Distractions. And then the water fund is at 73.8%. It's not bad. A few items, again, you know, it's operation supplies, you know, things happen, you need it, you have to have it. But overall, I think we're okay right now. But anything can happen.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, first a clarification. The salt shed that is not in Bellows Falls. It's north of there. When you pass by Joy Y, headed north and you head down the hill, you can see it. It's just past the north end of the railroad causeway. Now, from a business perspective, the folks who run that salt shed have paid for that salt. That's a cost on their ledger, and they need to book revenue against that before the end of their fiscal year. So you might be able to get a good deal.
I'll let the road superintendent negotiate that.
Yeah, you never know, because they really do want to get the money out.
Yeah. Well, we have a contract, so we're gonna pay the $98 per yard, no matter what, but.
Sure, but the point is, even so, they want to get that salt out of there so they can book the revenue. So you may be able to stock up right now.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Such as, we'll take all you've got left to fill up our shed.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Lenny on that.
Is that it?
Yes, unless somebody has questions. No?
No? Okay, moving on. Selectboard Old Business. Strategic planning session, 4/18/26, format topics.
What do you want me to put on the agenda, folks?
Pizza.
Pizza?
That's
you know, they only think about food.
Yeah, I want chair cushions for the audience. These are long.
All right, those are soft costs in the renovation.
They go under the junket line item.
Yeah. So Peg, you thought maybe we should talk about this.
Well, I just thought, before we go into a long strategic planning meeting, we should talk about what we want to do with that time. I mean, I think we should look at the town plan. I think that would be useful to just kind of do some kind of review there as we look at what our strategies and priorities are coming up. The other thing I wanted to look at was the concerns, comments raised when we did your 360 evaluation, because we got some interesting feedback from you, from some of the other community members, and I would be happy to kind of consolidate that and put that into some sort of, discussion format, so that we could
Is that
talk about
strategic
this.
planning?
Absolutely. I actually think it is very much strategic,
Right.
because
We'll
the
have
things that came up are things that I think have to do with
The board
the
itself.
board
Yes.
and, you know, being able to,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all. To me, that is super strategic planning. So those are the two things just that
Yeah, I think we should maybe make a list of the ordinances and other things that need updating.
I put all that stuff in the Google Drive.
Yes, okay, so,
Town plans there, the housing needs assessment
okay.
study is in there.
I looked at that like 2 weeks ago. That's gone out of my head. What you put in there?
There's, yeah.
So, yeah, cause I mean, there are definitely some things that we need to, change, like what's it called? Community service locations policy. We
Yeah,
definitely
that
need
one's
to work
in
on
there.
that one.
It's on the drive.
Yeah. Whether there's some task forces that we wanna stand up for things that we wanna do.
So I have a format from VLCT on like select board retreats.
Let's follow that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. And it's new, like they put up, there's a lot of new stuff on the VLCT website all of a sudden.
Really?
Which is great. So I pulled that and I pulled some other documents. Now, here's a question to the board, because I'm gonna be there. We did this maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember being at the fire station and I was doing all the talking. So does it make sense to have a facilitator other than me? Ooh. Because this is your planning session. I mean, I'm gonna work with
What do
you,
you have
but
planned?
I don't know if I should be the one leading the meeting.
Kind of short notice, yeah.
It is, maybe we postpone it for a week or two.
I already.
I don't know, how do you feel about it? I just wanna be honest and just throw that out there.
Well, I think maybe that's part of what we do is when we gather and we look at our agenda for the day, we divvy it up into who's gonna take different sections of it, and we share that responsibility, so you don't feel like it's on you. I would be really curious to see what the VLCT, did you put that in the folder?
No, I will though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it seems like we have to start the retreat with deciding what we want to cover over the course of the day. If we're not,
Yeah. Like you said, we haven't done it for 2 years.
Right.
And the year before that, we did one that was pretty unstructured. So the second one, I remember it being pretty much more structured.
Okay.
Everybody be ready to go at 7 a.m., right?
yeah,
It's
right.
9.
5. What do you mean?
5? Be out by noon.
All right.
Oh, man.
So I would suggest that we spend the first part of the time outlining and giving time slots to what we want to cover. What's our time? What time?
9
do
to
we-
3.
9 to 3.
And divvying it up amongst us as to who's gonna facilitate that section. Does that make sense?
It seems reasonable.
Sounds good.
Does that feel reasonable to you?
What was that? Sorry.
Like us sitting down and talking about all the things we want to do, and then like assigning times and people to like head each one,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's not you being like talk folks.
Well, once I have an admin too, it'll be a little easier. So, sure. Go into the Google Drive though, check out what's in there already. Peg, I'll put this VLCT retreat stuff in there. There's a couple other documents I'll add. But if you have topics, you bring them with you. I'm gonna have the laptop, by the way. We can hook it up to the monitor over there if that's what you want so we can pull up documents? Or do you want paper? Paper's gonna be hard, because I don't know what we're gonna be using.
Well, is there a way to print down there?
No.
No. There's no printer at the fire station?
We're going to the next stage.
Oh, we're going, oh, I'm glad we talked about that next stage.
I thought it was Putney Community Cares now. 9 o'clock.
We're all gonna show up in different spots.
Can't have a forum.
I needed a creative space
That's
other than
right.
a town building.
I do remember that now.
Space.
Oh, my
Nice
goodness.
kitchen, you can all cook together.
They have a bar there, it's all good.
So I have a question.
Go ahead, Sue.
In talking about the retreat, Karen mentioned it to me, we talked about the town plan. She wondered if I could be helpful on that topic. I have been offering to prepare a short summary of the status of it. I could do that on Friday and have that for you on Saturday. If there's anything you wanted on that topic, you can let me know.
I think that would be, if you're willing to do that, Sue, I think that would be super helpful to
Yeah.
us
I can
particularly.
provide that, and if you wanted me to be there for some time to talk about that,
Right.
I would be happy to do that.
I think it would be really helpful because we haven't revisited that in quite a while, so.
I'll give you the short summary report, and then if you want, no more than a page and a half. And then you can make it more than 5 minutes if you want to.
Thank you for that.
So wait, does that mean you're gonna come to the meeting and do that there?
Well, I mean, if you, however you decide you want to spend your time, let me know. Yeah, I can get it to you, I'll try to get it to you for the meeting, so you can review it in the meeting. If you would like me to be available to discuss it, my Saturday's flexible, you can let me know. Give me a time that you would want to talk about that.
I don't think we know.
I know you don't.
Yeah, I
You
think
might not know
that's-
till Saturday, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So we can just text you like, can you come over please?
I'll be home, I'm gonna be in the garden.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
feels hard to pull you away from that. There'll be pizza, right?
Thanks, Sue.
Anyway,
Then,
we
yeah,
wanted
that'd
to
be
talk
great.
about it for a long time, so
Yeah.
here it is. I mean, we've been talking about this for 6 months or something.
Yeah.
A good list to start with.
Right.
Good with that, Karen?
I'm good with that.
Okay. 250th anniversary planning.
So I've been thinking about this a little bit. I feel like the select board itself does not have the capacity to plan this.
What's the date of the time? I mean, we're behind the 8 ball already.
We're totally behind the 8 ball. I mean, in a perfect world, we would have stood up a task force for planning this thing. I don't know.
It's dated August 8th, 2024.
Yeah. I think it did briefly come across our desk last year, but we just didn't deal with it.
It's been brought more than once.
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe we kept saying if anybody is interested in doing it, we would support them. But I don't have.
I sort of feel like at this point, pulling this together would feel pretty difficult, and maybe we don't do the anniversary resolution, but we could, again, say if people want to do some celebration and they want to make it happen, but that feels like a big commitment that we aren't
Fire department
prepared
doesn't want to
for.
take this on, does it?
That's a lot. Townwide barbecue.
Yeah. Why not?
Town hall staff could do it.
I don't have enough staff.
I feel like it's okay to say
Yeah.
that this is not something
It's not
we
gonna
want,
happen.
that we can't hold right.
A lot of other places you can go to join in.
So, head over to Londonderry.
Yeah, what's Londonderry doing?
Nothing. What?
I agree, it is late in the stage to do anything. And I don't know of anyone doing anything in Putney, per se.
Alrighty.
Yep, I think that answers that question.
Alright.
Mr. Fairman, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, is this the end of the agenda?
This is the last.
We thought you were gonna raise your hand to organize the party,
Yeah,
Howard.
you can do that.
Head the
Or we
parade.
can negotiate that.
This is our last thing on our agenda until besides when we go into executive session.
Okay, may I have your permission to, I now know the exact status of the situation with Act 81 before the legislature. I'm looking at the legislature and bill tracker. May I share it?
If you be quick about it, yeah.
Oh, it's very, very quick.
Okay.
H325 is the bill. Oh, sorry, S325 is the bill. 27th of March, it was passed on third reading by the Senate. They suspended the rules and messaged it to the House, where it is now before the Committee on Environment, where they've been working assiduously on it, including today. Now, of course, the kicker here is that if they want to make changes to it, they're running out of time. If they're willing to agree with the Senate, it would be pretty simple. But if they want to change it, they'll have to go back to the Senate, and then of course the clock is running out. But that's from the official legislative bill tracker. That's where it is right now, and they were working on it today, the 15th, according to the agenda of the committee.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, so we've agreed we're not gonna pull anything off for this anniversary planning. Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session under 1 BSA.
Thank you, folks.
After making specific finding, premature general public knowledge will clearly place the public body or person involved in substantial disadvantage. And we're gonna, contracts, we're gonna invite Karen. And are we making a decision?
No. Just checking on her.
Can I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
7:50 with no decisions. Our next meeting is April 18th, the strategic planning session, and then the regular meeting April 29th. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.